Dealing with an avoidant during a breakup is probably the most confusing and painful experience that you're going to have. So I want to give you some tips to help you deal with this. Stage number 1, which is immediate relief and emotional distancing. And here's what happens. Usually after a breakup, an avoidant is going to feel relieved and glad that they did this with you. They wanted to break up with you for quite some time. It's usually a few weeks. So they distance themselves emotionally and often seem detached or completely indifferent, especially after some people, some avoidants will love bomb you like crazy, right? They'll come on so hot and then they'll just, pull the rug out from underneath you. And that can lead to so much confusion because you're like, we were just so hot. I don't understand what's going on. And by the way, if you need help with this situation, book a call or a text session. Link is in bio. Stage number 2 is suppressing emotions and distancing themselves. Again, confusing because a lot of the time they come off really, really hot and just disappear out of nowhere. So instead of dealing with the emotional pain that they have and dealing with anything, they would rather distract themselves with work, hobbies, social activities, casual dating. They'll feel distant and they feel like they don't care at all about you. They often appear fine, right? And this is the one thing I hear my clients say all the time is, how can they appear like they don't care at all? How do they not care? How could they just discard me so easily? So what I want you to think in their mind right now is, I'm fine, I don't need anyone. That is their mindset at the moment, and that's what avoidance will typically feel like. Stage number 3 is emotional numbness and confusion. The mindset behind them right now in this stage is, why do I still feel unhappy and empty? See, avoidants struggle internally, feeling numb and isolated because deep down there's a trauma wound. There's a wound that they're dealing with, okay? They don't understand how to, or they try not to on purpose. Sometimes it's purposeful. They don't want to dig deep into that emotion, which is obviously causing them to have these communication breakdowns and issues, because feeling it is what they're avoiding. Feeling the pain behind all that is what they don't want. So usually with an avoidant, they don't want to actually be emotionally responsible to you because that can come with some pain sometimes. Accountability, right? So they're trying to avoid that at all costs. And it's like they have one foot in and one foot out, but you'll never know it because, again, they come on so hot a lot of the time. So stage number 4 is going to be nostalgia and emotional reflection. And you'll realize that a lot of this is like a regular breakup. However, with an avoidant, there's a couple of things they do differently. So over time, the suppressed emotions begin to surface and it turns into like nostalgia and regret and they don't really know why they made that decision. It's almost like there's 2 versions of them in a way. At least that's what it feels like from the dumpies end. So the positive memories start to resurface strongly, making them question their decision. And they will say to themselves, maybe the relationship was better than I realized. Stage number 5 is fear of losing you permanently and possible reconnection. I have many clients who have had this back and forth with an avoidant. And a lot of avoidants won't actually reach out to you when a person that's not an avoidant would. So they'll breadcrumb you and they'll try to do things to get you to reach out to them. Because remember what I said earlier, they don't want that emotional responsibility or accountability. So they eventually feel like they're going to lose you because they are, right? You're going to eventually move on. So they'll try to get you to come back towards them again in backwards ways. So what if they are happier without me? What if I did lose them forever? Is going to go through their mind, right? Again, like a regular person. But because they have that trauma wound, they don't want to actually express to you that they're feeling that way because you may reject them or you may feel a type of way about them. And they don't want to experience that because maybe something happened when they were young. So why do avoidants behave this way? What's the deal? They fear emotional closeness, intimacy, and vulnerability. That's their biggest fear, right? Emotional detachment is their coping mechanism, okay, to prevent emotional pain or dependency. It's such an important point to remember if you're ever dating an avoidant or you want to continue dating one, because you're always going to be playing their game until they heal themselves. They do crave, intimacy, okay? They do crave it, they want it, but they often fear the anxiety, and that overpowers their emotional desires because of that wound that they have. So what should you do if you want your avoidant ex back? Well, I gave you all the stages of how they feel, right? So you obviously need to respect their need for space. Do no contact, because it is very powerful regardless. And it'll give them that relief and space that they need. You have to show independence, show personal growth like normal, and reconnect slowly. So what will again happen is a lot of the time they'll do a sneaky way of trying to get back together with you or just get back in your orbit, okay? Just go nice and slow. And don't expect them to be like, hey, I'm sorry for everything. You know what I mean? They may do it. I've seen it happen as a coach, right? I've seen it happen many times. It's just with somebody who's not an avoidant, a lot of the times there will be a genuine conversation and a lot of apologies happen. You know, hey, I'm sorry that I let this go. So you're not going to hear that from an avoidant. So remember, if you need my help, book a call or a text session.